Gigi Berardi reading FoodWISE, and tonight I continue with the section on small-scale integrated farms. And then I have a story for you from the Washington Post, which could have been taken right from this book, FoodWISE. No euthanizing pigs there. Every farm takes something different to succeed. The owners of Twin Brook Creamery in Linden, Washington, have made crucial business moves that typify how flexible and innovative a small-scale operation can and must be. Debbie and Larry Stapp, the farm's owners and operators, had a problem: declining milk prices and no farming opportunities for younger family members meant their farm wasn't resilient anymore. They couldn't see how they would compete in a market overrun by high volume oriented cheap product. Their solution: diversify. Give people something new, unlike anything they'd be able to find on supermarket shelves. Larry Stapp is a fifth-generation dairy farmer born and raised in the Northwest corner of the United States. For years, he sold to the regional milk cooperative, Dairy Gold, but he realized expansion would be necessary to make room for his son-in-law, who wanted to farm as well. Frankly, there's not a lot of profitable middle ground in U.S. farming, and especially dairy farming, where profit margins are particularly low. Our current agricultural web exerts an economic squeeze on family farms, identified as those with farm income less than $350,000, and on mid-size ones with farm income between $350,000 and $999,000. As we saw earlier, these farms account for 24% and 23%, respectively, of overall U.S. farm production. In a former era, many of these farms might have been considered large family farms and constituted a higher percentage of the total production. But they can no longer compete with the big mega-scale operations. Farmers have to mass produce in order to bring down overall cost. But what about farmers like the Stapps, who want to run a farm that's too big to rely on selling to small or direct markets only? The kind of specialty markets that could be profitable for some small farmers. They needed to figure out something to give people that those big farms couldn't. That's when they had their inspiration: high quality milk in reusable glass bottles. High quality would mean low temperature, small vat pasteurization, a more whole method of preservation. To get started, Stapp moved 18 of his Jersey cows from the larger dairy into what he called the penthouse, a dairy barn close to his house, so he could keep an eye on his girls. Jersey milk has a higher protein and fat content than milk from most other breeds, and therefore a richer flavor, which, Stapp reasoned, would be preserved by his careful pasteurization. He also decided not to homogenize the milk, further preserving the taste and allowing the relatively high percentage of cream or butter fat to float to the top. Not homogenizing preserves the integrity of the fat globules. Stapp wants his milk whole in the truest sense of the word. Even his choice to use glass bottles contributes. Glass does not alter the taste of the milk the way cardboard cartons or plastic containers sometimes can. Stapp has expanded the number of milking cows in his penthouse to 190, a bigger operation, but still a small dairy by industry standards. He has upgraded his bottling machine to handle 7 bottles at a time rather than the previous 2, which were capped by hand. Besides selling milk and cream, in the late fall, he sells his own eggnog, which is so popular he can't keep it on the shelves, even in larger Seattle markets. So I'm going to stop there and mention the Washington Post article, which has discovered small-scale integrated, I think they use the word holistic, in the Washington Post article, and interview a farmer who is surprised that large pig operations are having to euthanize the livestock. And what the smaller scale integrated farmer says, so the source of fertility that is used on the fields of this particular farm come from the animals that are pastured there themselves. He's astounded that farmers are euthanizing their pigs, that they have that large a number in their operation, which helps to create cheap bacon. But again, it's a system that's not very resilient. And so enjoy the Washington Post article, which looks at what does it mean to be resilient, the very thing that we're talking about in FoodWISE.